Welcome to another special edition of the Sacramento Dugout Show.
We have a special guest, one of the coaches of the Sacramento Imps, Zack Kalish. How you doing, Zack?
Good. How are you doing?
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, this is interesting because all three of us here are all a part of the Sacramento Imps.
Yeah.
You was one of the very first players back in 2012. So I want to ask you, now that you're got the coach's hat on, coach's shirt on, what is your biggest adjustment from just in the playing and now coaching?
Biggest adjustment from actually being on the field to coaching is kind of having to reel everything in. You know, as a player, former player, you kind of want to be able to just go out there and
Do it.
You know, if something's going wrong, you want to be able to kind of get more hands-on, more involved. And coaching, you kind of got to take a little bit of the emotion out of it. It's still the emotion's there, but it's a little different from when you're on the field, the emotion there, to being able to transfer that into coaching, to be able to be constructive and, you know, actually help the guys and not bring the energy down at all, or, you know, come down on yourself to where they'll pick up on that. I think that's the biggest change.
Can you give us some little foresight of the group of guys we have this year? Are we looking like a character group of players, or what type of M's players we have, since you're right in the crux of things?
We got some really good guys, honestly. There's a lot of guys right out of high school, a lot of young guys. So we got a young team that we can keep for a few years, which would be really good because they're all really developing in their game.
Nice.
A few guys are at some big schools. So we've got some talent out there. But overall, as a group, I think the only word that would describe us would be scrappy because, you know, nobody has really played together. You know, a lot of these teams, they've played together for a couple years, at least in the summer, or, you know, they get a lot of guys from different colleges that are all together for a few years. So there's good chemistry right out the gate.
Yeah, I bet that's a lot harder with a younger group, because I know when we were first starting with the M's, that was, you know, one of the bigger hurdles to try to jump over. And now that there is a younger group and you're going to be able to coach them, and it must give you some sort of relaxing moments, knowing that, okay, I know how hard we got to work extremely hard this year and next year, but at least it's going to start getting easier and they're going to start understanding your coaching philosophies.
Yeah, definitely. And the guys are really good about it. We don't have anybody who's actually like trying to go against it or trying to do their own thing. You know, guys got their own schedule during the summer. It's tough. They're from all different areas. They've got jobs. They've got their old college or school that they're committed to still. And so they're working with us to make sure we got a solid squad every game. But it is exciting to know that, you know, these guys are slowly starting to come together just even as the weeks go on. And, you know, they start hanging out a little bit outside of the field. It starts transferring onto the field. There's a little bit more talk. They're kind of creating those bonds that make a good team.
That's good because, you know, the first couple of years, some of we didn't practice as much, but games seemed to be pretty quiet. Everybody would show up in their own little nicks and their own little groups. They'd get their spots in the dugout, and they had always stuck together. But, you know, the one thing as a coach, I kept looking to see when is it going to be one dugout, and it seemed like towards the end of every year, everybody would start to come together. Where are we at right now, since we're only into it?
They're starting to come together already pretty quick, honestly, because they're all from the Sacramento area, so a lot of them do have the experience of playing against each other. Right. So the faces are familiar. I think that was our biggest struggle in 2012, 2013. We didn't have a lot of familiar faces, so we were all trying to learn each other, learn everybody's personality, like, okay, how's this person going to react if I get on them a little bit, if I think they're not hustling or whatever it might be. But these guys they keep it pretty loose, but they still get on each other to keep everybody accountable. That
was my next question. I know Dominic had his only difficulty was he was so close in age with the players.
Yeah.
You know, here he is a coach trying to instruct, trying to inform, trying to get them motivated, trying to get them to do what we need to do. And some would do it, some would give them a hard time, some would shrug it off and go at their own pace. Hopefully you're not having that problem because you're pretty close to some of their ages.
Yeah, we don't have too much of a problem. Coach Fitz is only, Tim Fitzgerald, the head coach, he's only a couple years older than me. So, you know, it's good in a sense because the guys feel like they can relate to you almost on a friend level. So it helps the comfort level in the dugout go well. But I think there's a lot more young coaches coming out in the college scene, so it makes it easier for guys like us who are getting into it in the summer who are closer to their age. So there's still that distinction, you know. It's not so much anymore where you see the guys who are the age of your dad or older who are the coaches all the time. It's getting more integrated because a lot more of us are done with our careers and trying to get more involved. So we don't have too much revolt, I guess would be a way to say it. there's always going to be.
They're at that age where they still want that direction.
Yeah, exactly. But there's always going to be a little bit of hesitation because they don't know you. Right. You don't have just a pedigree that you can walk around with and go, here's my numbers, here's what you can look at. But, they know they're out there to get reps, and they know we're not there to work against them. So.
Any personal coaching goals for you for this summer that you'd like to see manifest?
Personal coaching goals, I would just say I want to get more well-rounded, know a little bit more about coaching. I've only had one summer season before this as a coach, and it was also an assistant capacity, but like I've said before, it was with younger guys. It was with 15, 16-year-olds. So there was a lot more, like you were saying, that age range difference. So it's a little bit easier to instruct those guys. So I want to be able to pick up more of that leadership role and how to help people and be more of that distinction of I'm not just your buddy that we're around the same age. Like I'm here to be your coach, so you can look for me for guidance. Like I've been through what you're going through right now.
Yeah, it's like circle of life, man. I just remember back in 2012, little chubby, little beard, coming straight out of college, getting to play, and now you're coaching. So it's like real proud of you of as a grown man of what you become and how you're like giving back to baseball and coming back to this program. So I want to say thank you for being our coach. Thank you for being a part of this program.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the opportunity. It's definitely a pride for me being able to say I was on that first team. And now that I get to coach some better teams because they got more talent than we had in 2012. I can honestly say that.
Well, structure is getting there, and I think it's just a manifestation, year by year, trying to get better and better.
It's just going to keep growing, and I'm excited to see what comes.
Yeah, so we'll be right back with more Sacramento Dugout. And we're back with the Sacramento Dugout Show. This is the most popular segment of the show, like to call it the Hot Corner. 3 bases, 3 topics. We're on our first base, and we're talking about pickup baseball. I played it when I was a little kid. Todd have many, many stories about it. I would like to know what happened to pickup baseball, and is there something necessary for baseball today?
I'll start off, I guess. I think I did get to experience it a bit. We were talking before we got going here that it was kind of we would go to the field, and it had a lot to do with my dad was a coach again, so we had access to little league fields, and even if local middle schools, stuff like that, we could go there, start playing catch, start playing pickle. Over the line was basically, if I had at least 2 guys at my house, chances are we were at the park playing over the line. It was just kind of a law at my house, but. So we'd end up there, and if we were lucky, it wouldn't happen all the time, but it would happen. You hang out, hey, 3 more kids walking by, riding bikes by, say, hey, let's go, let's grab their gloves and start playing a game. So I think that's gone by the wayside because of the gaining popularity of other sports. Number one, the elimination of baseball fields. I think Todd, you talked about that, and then kids being outside less. Again, we were just talking about this before that we got rolling, and it's kind of sad that kids prefer to stay inside and play a video game or be online rather than being outside and trying to get even a few kids together and get a game going.
I've seen it for quite a while at being 52 years of age, but back in my day, elementary schools would have a couple of baseball fields on their facility. The middle schools, the high schools around the area would have several baseball fields. There was a Parkway Little League that was right by our house that had 3 baseball fields. And the older I got, the more the fields would disappear and just became high school and Little League. So the fields that were in the park, the fields that were at elementary schools, were all getting taken up and utilizing for big, like I know the elementary school, the 3 baseball fields became 1 big soccer field. And in high school, you have your JV, varsity, and freshman. Now, most high schools, they need more area because there's lacrosse, there's rugby, there are all these new sports that are being played now in high school that weren't being played when I was there. So those areas where baseball is taking up a lot of space for 3 fields, if they, depending on neighborhood head count, they either have 2 fields or they just would dwindle it down to 1. So throughout the years, it became less places for kids to go out and play. Because I know when we would go out there, it would just be a couple of, me and my friend pitching to each other, doing who can hit the most home runs. Yeah. Next thing you know, just like he said, a couple of guys would walk by and they would start shagging balls, and then they would get the hit, and the next thing you know, there's a baseball game going on. I drive by, the high school that I coach out now when I'm coming home from work, and I'll see kids at first. I'm like, look at that, kids are out there playing baseball, but no, they're out there practicing and tearing up my field. So they're, they're out there working, which is great. But there's no sandlot games, there's no pickup games that I see that go on at all anymore, really.
I don't know if it's
wiffle ball, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, it's some weird sports going on. Like where you'll see a baseball game, you'll see an ultimate frisbee game, or like what Ty said, you said soccer. And I think that I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. Did the supply, the funding for field upkeep and parks and recs in general go down, and that's why you don't see less and less people playing baseball, let alone playing pickup sports? Or did more specialization of sports happen, more indoor sports, more extreme sports happen where kids are just not playing the game anymore? And
I think you just nailed it.
You nailed it pretty much on the head.
Yeah.
The property that I work on is owned by state parks. And when the drought came in, they stopped watering grass. And I've seen, and they do the same at all parks. I was seeing soccer fields and baseball fields turning brown, turning to dirt. The beautiful grass that was out in front of our building is now sand. And there's no way, no matter how hard they water it, the grass is not going to grow back. So that's, when the city's having furloughs and the cities are actually shutting down parks where there is places for a kid to go, it just makes it a lot harder.
Yeah. So y'all heard that, city officials? Get back out there on the field. We'll be back with the second topic of the Sac Dugout Show. What's the greatest baseball movie of all time? And I know I have the right answer.
Oh, I have the
I
right
hope
answer.
you guys agree with me.
But it might be generational. Sandlot, for sure, for me.
Sandlot?
I love Sandlot, yeah. That one.
I gotta disagree. I'm going Bull Durham.
Oh,
for
wow.
sure.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I do like Bull Durham.
It's baseball player movie for sure.
In terms of, I mean, those are like some cool movies and stuff. Like Sandlot is an instant classic, but it's little kids.
Yeah.
Bull Durham, I mean, it's a guy that kind of didn't make it. But,
But I mean, it's the struggle of baseball. It's
Yeah,
a failure
it's
game,
See, that's the difference with youth people now. You guys, you're in the video games, you got all the movies down pat, you're playing all the sports, you're doing CrossFit training. You guys got so much stuff going on. With me, it was sports. Movies? If I'm going to spend 3 hours of my time or 2 hours of my time, I'm going to be playing, running around, or watching something that I'm familiar with. I can't really hang with movies, but when it comes to something like that, it has to be Doc Ellis and the documentary No-No.
Oh, yes.
The great Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, I watched that documentary, and I mean, even though I heard about it, I knew about it, I probably even saw a game or two, just to see somebody being able to pitch, high on LSD or intoxicated or anything like that, and pitch a perfect game, no hitters, and be able to prolong his career as long as he did. He goes, that to me is a phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
I say mine is Mr. Baseball. It might be so y'all know what I'm talking about. When I say that, a lot of people don't know what I'm saying. But think about it, all right? You a fading star for the New York Yankees, right? Your life switch, right? You got a new dude coming in town, which was actually played by Bo Jackson, but a myth player that was, a five-tool player. What do? You've been an all-star for years. You redirect yourself, go to Japan. That's a story that's kind of never get told, in the whole landscape of professional baseball. And I think that story was like perfect. It was about redemption. It was about somebody who was like arrogant. He got humbled, playing in a different league. He really appreciated baseball again. I think it got the essence of why do people love baseball was in that movie when he was like on the come up and training with the Japanese coach.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I do. I love seeing all the baseball movies, of course. So I love it. But I forgot to mention Field of Dreams is also another good one. That's
whenever it ends with a kid being able to finally play catch with his dad.
You don't have to catch, that one's
pretty
tough
good.
one not to. A little different direction than Sandlot, but I'm still sticking with Sandlot. I'm just saying Field of Dreams is a good
Mr.
one.
Baseball though, you gotta look at the special effects in that movie though. It was
The campy 90s special effects. That was a good flick, though. I did like that movie.
What about Bernie Mac? So was that 3,000?
Mr. 3000.
That's the other one.
Hey, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I mean, then there's movies like 61, talking about Mickey Mantle.
Mickey
Yeah.
Mantle. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so there's all over, but
Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and Down the
Oh,
series,
man,
that's a
yeah.
whole nother struggle there.
Yeah.
But
Goodness.
as far as Bull Durham, I think I drew to it as much because it more tells that story of what so many people playing baseball experience, is that failure or kind of staying at a lower level. Because when you look at it, only the top 1% of all baseball players in the world make it to the professional level. So the majority of us who are playing only make it so far. And it shows you how to have fun at those lower levels, enjoy the game, play hard, all that kind of stuff. So like, I got kind of drawn to it when I was playing in the Midwest at a no-name school. So it had a little more meaning to me during that time. So I think that was...
And then you end up talking baseball around the round table.
Yeah, exactly.
And, our demographic for the older people would be like The Natural, because it was somebody that,
that's another good one.
started off young, played hard, was a mentor to so many
But he
guys,
made it, though.
started to go down, and then comes back on his way out and ends up on
It
top.
was like 100 though. Like, it was Robert Redford. It wasn't unbelievable. Like he was born being 65 years old. Like,
Oh, Bad News Bears. That's a good one.
Oh,
The original,
wow.
not the new one. I haven't
Not-
seen the new one. It didn't
yeah.
look very good, so I passed on that.
we didn't mention Major League at all. The
Oh,
Major
Well, I
League.
mean,
That's a
which one of
classic.
the three?
Yeah.
No, just the first
The
one.
first
The
one.
first
Wild Thing? Is that
The
the...
best
Yeah, that's the
one.
Wild Thing one, yeah.
Oh, man, that one's
I
great.
mean, 2 and 3 was kind of
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
first one.
First one, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wesley
yeah.
Snipes and Willie Mays
Willie
Hayes.
Mays Hayes.
Yeah, that's a classic movie.
Pinning up the batting gloves in his apartment.
Yeah.
That's the
The
best.
Angels in the Outfield too for other kid ones. I mean, because they grab you. All the baseball ones, they grab you at all the different ages. They've
Rookie
got
of the
the
year.
kids ones,
There
they've
we
got
go.
the adult
The
ones.
Cubs. Yeah, yeah.
You know, so
Angels in the Outfield, man, that's right into my wheelhouse for
Yeah.
when I was a kid. Wow, that's bringing
I actually
back.
thought the Angels was like a real good team. I thought,
Right?
Like I thought the Mighty Ducks was a special team because it was in a movie. So yeah, they have remakes of all the movies. So they got like a rebooted Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah.
They just came with a new
Sandlot.
Sandlot, and I didn't waste my time.
yeah,
I'm
they
sorry.
keep recycling.
There's like a
all
dog
of
in
them.
there, right?
I'm not gonna pass Benny the Jet up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, these baseball movies, though, they do have a lot of sentimental value, especially when the time you watch it. You know how old you are, what you're doing in your baseball career, really sticks to you.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, man. I think, like I said, Mr. Baseball is a great movie. I'm glad that y'all agree with me on that. Yeah. So that's it for the Hot Corner topic. 3 rounds, 3 discussions. We'll be back with the Sac Dugout Show. We're on the right topic right now. We just on a break. We had a little heated argument about different athletes that play multiple sports, and that's our topic. You know, is a 3-sport athlete dead? And what's y'all take on people that play multiple professional sports? I'll give you my take. I know we was talking on a break about Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders, and that's more for the fans, I think. You know, a guy that could play multiple sports through college and do it at the professional level, I think that's something that's built it up for, you know, sports now. And I think there's some players right now that has the capabilities to play multiple pro sports. LeBron James being one of them.
Oh, I completely agree. I think the athletes are out there, but I don't think sports now are requiring such concentration on them. I mean, they're year round, no matter what you choose anymore. Between camps and club teams and clinics, training programs, that it's tough, I think, to be a 3-sport athlete. I mean, even when I was in high school, I went to a small high school, so it was fine. But kids at larger high schools, coaches wouldn't allow them to do more than one sport because they had to be in those programs playing in the other leagues. So I think it's tougher and tougher for kids these days. But yeah, I think Mike Trout could probably play football no problem. I mean, I think there's guys out there that absolutely could transition over. LeBron, oh man, what a tight end that would be. 6'9" and able to fly like that. So the possibilities out there, I just think because of the real specialization that we see now across leagues, it's just tough.
Well, we've seen it in the 80s and 90s. You have Deion Sanders, prime time, both sports, Yeah. And I wonder, today.
Well, we have one, Russell Wilson, but the Seattle Seahawks won't let him
There you go.
do it. So they're saying, yeah, he probably could. Texas Rangers want him. They bring him back all the time. He gets some playing time in. He can definitely play baseball and probably would have a contract, but then the Seattle Seahawks are saying, there's some teams that say you can't ride a motorcycle, you can't roller skate, you can't skateboard.
It's also started at such a younger age too. I mean, high school now is even becoming more of a business to where coaches are worried about the health of their players in the off season, which didn't used to happen. It used to be play the other sports, have fun, enjoy your athletic ability, and now it's more if you want to go to the next level, you kind of have to be a one-sport athlete in order to play at the next level. Because if you don't, you're seen as just an overall athlete, but you're not necessarily college caliber baseball or basketball or football or whichever one you like the best.
Your skill sets may fall behind. I mean, it's so competitive now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch up on, being a high school coach. We'll have other coaches coming to us saying, I know so-and-so is playing baseball, but we have a 7-man team, or we have this coming up, we have that, please don't play him, please don't overwork his legs. Or, I have parents coming up, before a game, their kid is going to be the starting pitcher. Hey, he has a tryout for such and such travel team. Can you please not play him today? He's starting pitching. I'm terribly sorry. He's on my team. He's playing today. His tryout does not matter to me.
Yeah, it happened to me last summer coaching Legion age. So they're 15.
Yeah.
And they had summer football camp. So it's 7-on-7. It's really light stuff. But we had parents call and say, hey, they've got a big game this coming weekend. His legs are a little sore. Do you mind if he just DHs? Well, he's a catcher, so if his legs are sore, he'll sit. Because, if he's hurting that bad that you need to call, obviously he needs some time off. And you got to have a discussion in summer ball of what sport's more important to your kid. Which one does he like more? Or which one do you want him to like more?
Back in the day, it was so true. There, in college especially, there were kids that would wrestle, that would play football, kids that would do, rowing, that were playing baseball. I mean, they were always playing in 2 sports constantly. Now it's more like, if you want, exactly what he said, if you need or if your desire is to get to the next level, this is what you're focusing on 24/7, 365, and, just drilling it into your system. It's so difficult. Even when, back in my high school days, we had Charles Mann. We had Robert Awalt, people that played both sports. We had a basketball, football player in Charles Mann, but what is he known for? Washington Redskins, one of the best defensive linemen, around. You have Robert Awalt, who was actually drafted by the Angels, I believe, and the Dallas Cowboys, played 2 seasons as the Dallas Cowboys. Once he got cut, he went over, played, AAA baseball, never made it to the majors, but I think if he would have went over to baseball a lot earlier, he was a better baseball player in high school, he probably would have had a career in baseball. So it's really how you are directed when you're younger.
Yeah.